Good evening and welcome to As I See It, Politics and More. I'm your host, and tonight we're diving into a story that stirred up national debate, one that sits in the crossroads of education, religion, and accountability. Samantha Fulnecky, a student at University of Oklahoma, submitted a controversial assignment that sparked outrage, support, and a whole lot of confusion. But what really happened? And why is using religion as a shield for academic failure not just problematic, but dangerous? Let's unpack the facts, the fallout, and the bigger picture. Samantha Fulnecky, a junior psychology major, was assigned a 650-word essay analyzing a scholarly article on gender and societal norms. Instead of engaging with the article using academic sources, Fulnecky submitted a paper rooted entirely in religious doctrine, citing the Bible to argue that non-traditional gender identities are demonic. The essay lacked empirical evidence and failed to meet assignment's academic criteria. The instructor gave a proper 0, citing academic standards, not personal identity, as the reason. Fulnecky filed complaint alleging religious discrimination. The university placed the instructor on administrative leave and later ruled the grade would not count against Fulnecky's final score. Now, where I have an issue is by using transgender narrative also, us versus them, when it should be the paper is done to school standards, and the college should also be held to higher standards. Instead of out of fear putting instructor on leave, they should have looked to see, did the student do the paper to correct standards? Let's also look at this from a fellow student's point of view, where I have had to look at different colleges and see if they're the proper fit. I am also a psychology major, and when I was looking for colleges, I had to talk to many of them. You have to find out if they're the right fit. And quite frankly, there are many great faith-based colleges. So if that's her point of view, why then did she not choose a college that was faith-based? And even then, would the paper have met their standards? When we start making religion a way to hide behind certain things and then claiming free speech, this then could be a dangerous thing. Conservative media and organizations like Turning Point USA frame the incident as a violation of religious freedom. Fulnecky became a symbol in the culture war, appearing on national platforms to claim victimhood. Meanwhile, many students at OU were outraged, not by the university's response, but by the broader narrative being pushed. Reports indicate a growing number of students have withdrawn from the university, demanding their tuition back and citing the lack of institutional support for the academic integrity. The controversy has damaged the university's reputation, with alumni and donors expressing concern over the administration's handling of the situation. Let's look at a news clip where they explain what is going on. So let me pull up the tab and I can show you guys a news clip of everything that is happening. And then we can discuss this further. All right. It's up on screen. And now I'm going to hit play and then let's watch this clip and then we can discuss this.
He tells me that after she brought up to the university what happened, they decided that that grade would not count against her. But it doesn't mean the conversation is over just yet.
I just did the assignment and turned it in. And I talked about the Bible in it. That is, I view all of my opinions in the world through the Bible.
Samantha Fulnecky.
Okay, here's my problem. I will actually pull up the assignment here after this clip, and then you can see for yourselves. I have her full written paper, and the assignment. So you can be the judges for yourself, because I encourage all my viewers to think for themselves, to think logically and ethically. Let's watch this clip, and then afterwards, let's look at the assignment and grade it as such.
As a junior at OU, she says when she submitted an essay reacting to an article for her psychology class, she got a 0. The graduate instructor, who is transgender, was the one grading it. They called it offensive and said it lacked.
This is also my problem. The media is pointing out the instructor, who is transgender. That in itself is also a problem. Transgender shouldn't even be a thing. That person is just a person. Okay? No matter how you look at it, that person is a male or a female. Point blank, they're teaching psychology. They are teaching psychology. They are not teaching anything on her gender herself. That shouldn't even be a topic. The topic itself at hand should be the assignment. So even the news is failing here. They shouldn't be making this about gender or about transgender versus us versus them versus, it shouldn't even be that. It should be, should she have put the Bible in an analytical paper for school? And that should be the topic.
Empirical evidence.
So I gave my opinion, and not just my opinion, but that's like the Bible says that God created male and female. And
okay, I'm going to react a little bit to her because I am also a student and psychology student, and I have some thoughts on what she just said. As a psychology major, I don't care if you have faith or not. If it's not asking about your faith or your points of view on your faith, you should not even be bringing this up. What is going to happen in the field? We are not supposed to bring up our points of view, our religion, our beliefs, any of this inside the office. So how is she going to counsel anyone by the American Psychology Association? They have rules and standards on this. There's ethics even. So if she can't control herself even on a paper, who's to say she can't control herself in an office? Just my thoughts.
anything that's not from God or glorifying to God is glorifying to the enemy.
Here are excerpts of the essay. She says, society pushing the lie of multiple genders is demonic and believes it's against God's will.
That's what I meant by that. The demonic thing is that I didn't mean for that to be offensive, but the truth will naturally offend people. And so I think that's why people are kind of viewed as offensive.
She just said the truth will naturally offend people. And she's talking about religion. But what about a analytical science class she is actually in? Is she yet not offended by truths of science? Can we yet not turn this around? Just pointing this out. So let's keep watching.
So, would you have a problem having a transgender teacher?
I wouldn't, not if they're able to separate their kind of.
She is asking, the newscaster just asked her, are you okay having a transgender teacher? Now here's an interesting thing she just said. Not if that transgender person is able to separate, but yet she's not able to separate. So if she can't separate, isn't this a double standard here? I mean, so she's asking for something that she can't even do. Just a thought.
Beliefs and things from grading,
What a great
then
psychologist
I
she's gonna be.
don't, really care who my professors are.
She was supposed to be graded on whether there was an understanding of the article, whether it was a clear reaction, and whether the main ideas were organized in a coherent discussion. She got a 0 out of 25 points and filed a complaint against OU, claiming her religious freedom was violated. That instructor's been put on administrative leave. Fulnecky says she isn't sure whether she'll be seeking any legal action from this, but we asked an attorney what they thought. if things do go in that direction.
In the end, I really do not see this lawsuit going anywhere, as there is no constitutional guarantee to an A in a class at a public university.
I did reach back out to the university today. They said the incident is still under investigation, but again, that graduate instructor is on administrative leave at this time, and I did reach out to them as well. We talked a little bit over email. They declined to comment. They didn't want to interview, but I also spoke with others close to the situation that says that person.
So most people who are smart in when they are transgender, I'm just going to say this, they usually don't put themselves way out there, because the truth be told, they're usually in a lot more danger than everyone else wants to say they are. So
has been getting a lot of criticism and even some death threats after all of this that has happened.
Exactly.
Live in Norman, Chantal Navarro, KOCO
All right.
5 News.
So now that we have watched this, let's stop sharing the screen. Now I am going to, hang on. All right. Now I'm going to pull up the assignments, and we can look for ourselves on whether she did her assignment right or not. I mean, let's look at whether she did these right or not. I mean, we can see for ourselves, we can judge for ourselves. So I think we should take a look at the assignment and look for ourselves about what's going on. All right. Open. All right, now gonna bring up, I gotta go to my Gmail because I have to re-pull up this assignment. It didn't seem like it's saved. So I want to thank everyone for your patience, because I want to pull up her written assignment, because we're gonna show what she actually wrote also. I want to show you guys what she actually wrote, so you guys can see for yourself what part of the issue for me was, and what you guys can see. I mean, I want you guys to be able to think for yourselves too on, well, do you think that she did the assignment or don't you? All right, I think it's saved. All right, let's go over and present. My computer is being a little bit of a butt. It doesn't want to always bring up. Load file. Okay, why is it not downloading? I gotta make sure. My word. This thing is trying to not. All right, I gotta bring up the right one. Thank you all for your patience. All right, let's do this. I'm going to go to upload file. Okay. Why is this? All right, so I'm going to add to stage so you can see her assignment. And then we're going to talk about the actual, the ask the teachers ask, like what they were asking. So I feel that's also extremely important. So let me see here. Let's see if I can upload this to cloud saving to Drive. All right, let's see if we can do this from the Drive. That might be a little easier. So I want you guys to look at this slide and let me know when you've read it, and I'll go to slide 2. There is slide 2, so you can see the full paper on screen, live and casting. So that way you guys can see what she actually wrote, because this right here shouldn't be about transgender versus not. This should be, did she do her assignment? Did she do what was asked? And quite frankly, if she didn't, she should get the 0, in my opinion. So that's kind of what my point is here. If this doesn't pull up, I'm going to have to just tell you guys where it was actually at, and then that way we can move on. All right. This way. All right. So, okay, so I'm going to put this down, and then we're going to actually see if this worked. All right, so I'm going to remove that slide, and then we're going to put up the assignment, because I feel like that's actually also very important. All right. All right, you know what? Okay, we're just going to move on. I'll just tell you guys where to actually look for this, because I can't seem to bring up where it's wanting me to go. So I guess we're just going to have to do it that way. All right, so we're going to move on. I will just go ahead. I'm going to put the assignment in the description. Literally in the description, I will put that in there so you guys can see the full assignment. That's how we'll move on. So I greatly appreciate everyone's patience. I'm so sorry my computer wasn't cooperating. All right, now, let's be clear. This story shouldn't be about the instructor's identity. That's a distraction completely. The core issue is academic responsibility. A student failed to meet the assignment's requirements and then used religion to deflect from that failure. Bringing the instructor's transgender identity into the spotlight shifts the conversation away from the real problem. A student refusing to engage with the academic standards. This tactic not only undermines credibility for the complainant, but also fuels unnecessary division. And we already have enough of that right now. All right, academic standards versus personal belief. University assignments are evaluated based on critical thinking, evidence, and scholarly rigor, not personal beliefs. Freedom of religion is a constitutional right, but it does not exempt students from academic expectations. The instructor's feedback emphasized the lack of empirical support, not the presence of religious beliefs. Academic freedom protects instructors who uphold these standards, even when it's unpopular. Using religion to excuse academic failure is not only intellectually dishonest, it's disservice to faith itself for those who believe. Faith should inspire deeper inquiry. It should not be wielded as a weapon against education. When students invoke religion to justify not doing the work, it trivializes real classes of religious discrimination. This isn't about persecution, it's about performance. We must draw a clear line between freedom of religion and academic responsibility, period. Students must be held to the same standards regardless of belief. Now look at it this way. If she's a psychology major, we should be upheld to the same standards of education when we are going to treat patients, okay? You should have to learn how to separate what you believe from what the science actually says, all right? You have a responsibility and a duty to your future patients to do this. You should be able to separate personal beliefs from the care of your so you can care for the patients that you are going to future treat. Let's stop using religion also as a get out of accountability free card. Let's demand better from our students, our institutions, and our public discourse. So let's take a look at another clip I have for you, because I feel like it is also very important to look at some of these clips and opinions of what people are saying. Because quite frankly, I think it should be looked at. All right, let's take a look at this clip, shall we? Let me take away this last thing I had on stage. Sometimes this program could be a little bit finicky, I know. So, all right, here we go. Let's share this and look at this.
Oklahoma student is getting national attention after submitting an essay that got a grade of 0. The educator who graded it is now on leave.
The student is Samantha Fulnecky, and she spoke earlier today during a Conservative Foundation's event.
News 4's Dylan Brown joins us in studio. And Dylan, you talked to her about the essay and her classmate who got a grade of 100 on theirs.
Yeah, that's right. So two basically students at OU. So that student that looked at Fulnecky's essay ended up saying that there were many grammatical errors, punctuation errors, no title, her name isn't even on it. That educator who graded it put on leave after Fulnecky claimed she got a 0 on the essay because of her Christian beliefs and went all the way to Governor Stitt to complain about it.
Please note that I am not deducting points because you have certain beliefs. That's the first line a psychology teaching assistant at the University of Oklahoma wrote after giving student Samantha Fulnecky a 0 out of 25. Fulnecky argues it was because of her beliefs.
It has to do with me talking about God in it and my stance on gender.
All right. Again, your assignment didn't ask you to give your own personal beliefs. So you should have left it out. Great.
Right, but anyone would say that too, make themselves look better.
She's a junior at OU. She turned in this essay a couple weeks ago. The assignment to outline her thoughts on this article about gender's effect on society. Here's some of the rubric. It was supposed to be 650 words, much of the rubric making the student point back to the article. This is what Fulnecky turned in, less than 650 words. She gave her opinions on gender, how society views it.
I'm just going to say that I have had papers returned back to me many times. And it's because I did not meet the standards that my professors were asking me to meet. Did I try to use the fact that I was LGBTQ plus member of society and run crying? No. Instead, I kept trying to better my paper and worked with my professor to find out how I can better this. Also, I understand that if my paper is not asking me to submit my personal beliefs, I leave those out regardless. So if she didn't meet the 650 word standard, well, you're probably going to get marked 0. And if you don't write in APA standards, which it doesn't even look like she really did by the look of the paper, because I'm learning enough about these writings. Trust me, I also have the guidebook over here, and there doesn't seem to be a lot doesn't seem to be an APA standard, which I'm also betting is a negative on her. It's just a hunch on my part, though.
But there were grammatical errors, and she never named the authors or any points within the article besides at the beginning.
So she didn't cite, aka that actually means she didn't write it in APA 7th standard. So when you are writing a paper for a school, because I have to write many of them, you have to do proper citings in APA 7th standard. I do not see that she cited anything, and that's exactly what the newscaster just basically said, different wording.
Talking about beliefs associated with the Bible, which I feel as though is not academically stable.
Out of fear of retaliation, this University of Oklahoma student wants to remain anonymous. They've taken the same class.
There wasn't any citations for the Bible either.
They never required any evidence or anything to support my opinion. They were just asking for my opinion.
We got access to a student's paper from that same class. This student names the authors, names their points in the article throughout it.
Her name wasn't on it. The the instructor course was not on it.
It wasn't just that TA who looked at the paper. Another professor also reviewed it and agreed with the grade given. Other educators have graded the paper themselves, finding issues, including lines like, "Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts." Run-on sentences. But at the heart of it all, the TA, who identifies as...
So, okay, here's the interesting thing. If other professors have, and from other schools, even graded the paper and gave it a 0, why then, OU, did you keep that professor on leave? Why then did you still punish that professor? Why is it then on the student or not on the student? Shouldn't then that student have repercussions? Because quite frankly, there should be a level of responsibility on your part, University of Oklahoma. I'm going to call you out straight. You should have a better sense of responsibility on you. If other college student or professors have looked at this paper, and even your own college professors looked at this paper and graded it the same way, why then punish the professor? I don't understand, OU.
Transgender, and was asking for the student's opinion as it's related to the article itself.
I had no idea that the TA was transgender.
This isn't about religious discrimination.
Almost immediately after getting the 0, Fulnecky put in an appeal, messaged Governor Stitt, and turned to OU's Turning Point USA chapter. OU itself over the weekend stated the teaching assistant was put on administrative leave.
I think if you can't do your job correctly in any setting, you get fired.
That people are sick.
So the student just said on the news, I think if you can't do your job in any setting, you're fired. Okay, so I'm going to call you out then, Samantha. If you want to be a psychologist, wouldn't you then be fired with the Board of Ethics for bringing in your own personal beliefs with a client? Because that is never allowed. You are never allowed to bring your own personal beliefs inside of that session. So I'm going to call you out there.
Of these things happening, and that across the board, things like TPUSA and things like other extremist organizations have a chokehold over people like the president of OU.
Fulnecky, a guest speaker Wednesday at the Right Wing Religious Foundation OC-PAC meeting. She claimed there it's a fight against religious discrimination.
I've never really been interested in politics, if I'm being honest, until now.
And there is a protest set for Friday on campus, hosted by OU students in response to this overwhelming national attention.
See, and I actually fully agree with that. There should be a protest. There should be support for that teacher that got put on leave, because the college is in the wrong. They should have never done that. So I completely disagree that they put her on leave. That's a disservice. So do better, University of Oklahoma, because you deserve all those college students that are leaving. Every single one. So I fully agree with every single one of those students that are pulling their tuition. I would too. I would absolutely leave, and I would want a full refund, because I wouldn't want to be associated. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I actually have had them email me, and I applied a long time ago, about a year and a half ago. I applied, just looking to see about the college for their online psychology department. And believe it or not, about a month and a half ago, I got an email as a checkup to see if I was still interested. And to be fully honest, no, I would never be interested in a college that basically got rid of a teacher for doing their job. So no, I am absolutely not interested in University of Oklahoma. I never would be, even if I wasn't going to the college I'm at now. So that's my response. All right, so thanks for joining us. The Samantha Fulnecky case isn't just about one student or one grade. It's about what kind of society we want to be. Do we value truth, evidence, and education? Or are we willing to sacrifice those ideals for the sake of political expediency? As always, I leave you with this. Speak boldly, think critically, and never stop asking questions. Until the next time, This is As I See It, Politics and More. Thank you, everyone. If you made it this far, please give me a like, a share, and a subscribe. Thank you so much, and good night.